from Malakos's point of view on the Phoenix. There we go. 3, 2, and a 1. Right off the kickoff, we're watching Malakosis staying back, making sure that his team has the extra defense in case it goes either way. I'll go ahead and fix the scoreboard. It is not a 1-1. This is a game number 1. Looking at this right now, I know a lot of people are looking at Phoenix being a monumental team to defeat on the West Side Division. But we haven't seen a whole lot from Oakshaft Owls, and so the element of surprise is there for them. They have what it takes to be able to try and take some of their uniqueness and what they have maybe not faced from Phoenix and see how they can transfer that into points. We're watching right now as Malakosis goes up, does a pass to Dake Blueby, a pass it back to Malakosis, which you also see as Little Cubo. That's his PlayStation username. But as we watch this, a one-timer to stop the keeper from getting the kick, a short one-timer, lots of pass play in front of these hoops, and it goes through. Taking a look real quick, we'll take a look at the replay. That catch, he was able to send it behind the hoops. Dake Blueby, he had it set up to pass into them and was able to score right there, just barely past the keeper. We'll switch back over into the point of view now of Malakosis, who's currently fighting for possession. Goes in Dake Blueby's hands. We're watching a lot of pass and play, just like how we seen from T Dreams to Cleat. We're watching Malakosis into Dake Blueby. Very good team play there. Lots of pass play. And we see Neo as far as chaser gameplay right now. Instead of Denji, where we normally see him, Denji is on Seeker. How you feeling so far, Tux? Number 1 cheerleader, seeing their gameplay right off the start.
Losing Snitch right now. Yeah, I don't know. I actually want to see more on Seeker, like pressure wise from Phoenix.
Sounds good, and I had to make sure that they could hear your lovely voice as well. We did see Dark Rit Nighthawk get a score in the meantime as well while you were talking. 10-10 on the board. Snitch is getting really close both sides, but Michimo is in the lead on Oakshaft Owls due to Denji had fallen while we were listening to Tux. Dark Rit Nighthawk is someone that I've seen holding the possession of the Quaffle a lot on Oakshaft Owls. So it'd be interesting to see how this goes in his way. We'll switch over real quick and see both sides to this. We have on the Oakshaft Owls, we'll be seeing Dark Rit Nighthawk with another score there. Well played from him. We have the keeper perspective, Dak Daniels and Faster Eddie. So we'll take a look from keeper perspective at Dak Daniels right now.
Oh, that's free flight. Oh wow.
He's running free flight. We don't normally see the free flight come out as far as keepers go, but he was able to get a kick on Denji there. Was able to try and get us a little bit of damage there. As you see bottom left, Michimo's in the green, healing up, was in the red though. Lots of pressure on both Seekers going into this. 10-20, still anyone's game with the Snitch so close, about 90% both sides. The bumps are coming out. Oakshaft Owls going down just a little bit, and Michimo falls. There we go. We see as far as the Secret race goes, that 10 seconds is going to allow them to kind of catch up, let Denji be able to get this catch as it's 20-20 with Neo scoring another quaffle goal. We don't have a Seeker point of view, but Denji goes in and takes it to 50-20. First catch going in favor of Rising Phoenix, but well played both sides.
At the end, I felt like they had way more pressure on the Seeker as they saw it's getting closer and they losing the Snitch. They didn't really play much chaser game after that, like quaffle game, I mean. But the pressure was way more important here. 30 points always more important than the 10 from the score.
Yeah, and the pass play between the teams has allowed Phoenix to get it upfield. And while they necessarily haven't focused too much on Seeker, like Malakosis, for example, he's been mainly on the quaffle. Them being so strong on the quaffle has allowed them to take advantage of those moments in which they have to pull Oakshaft Owls chasers to Denji on Seeker as Rising Phoenix. I'm just watching right now as it's getting closer in anticipation with all of you guys. We'll make sure to get some audio. I always forget to make sure that that's a little bit higher. But looks like Malakosis doesn't actually have any audio his side. He's playing in dead silence. He's making sure that he's he's making sure he's locked in. We watch Sly taking down Osito Luna. taking a little bit of the beater pressure off of his Seeker there. Dake Blueby putting in another score there for both sides. Definitely close for both teams right now, and I'm interested to see how the second Seeker battle goes going into second Snitch. There is a lead right now, but it can go either way, as we've seen.
Yeah, if they don't take down the Seeker here soon, it's gonna be rough for Oakshaft though, since they have to score and apply pressure to the Seeker, and we saw that the last couple games. That's pretty hard to do both.
Yeah, watching right now as both teams are going in on this. We'll switch it back over to Malakos's view. He was getting a little bit of pressure on him, as you see he's down 5 health. That's a beater tackle right there. But he is kind of just avoiding the Quaffle right now. He's going after the beater, trying to eliminate some pressure as it's getting closer to Denji being able to catch. There we go. We see the pass play going in and a free pass the keeper score right there, making this a 70-20. Currently, they got the snitch insurance that they need due to that first snitch, and now they're leading on the second snitch. The moment that they catch now is going to end the game. We do see a little bit of a kill right there going out, and then Luna was able to fall as well. Sly Haddock's making sure that it's going 1-for-1, but the Chaser gameplay is not 1-for-1 as Dake Blueby scores another one, making it 80-20, 40 seconds left on the match. Not enough time necessarily to climb back from this deficit, but we can see how the second snitch will go to give us an idea of what to expect going into game number 2.
Right now, you can only play for the wild card, and they try to do that apparently. But there's no way that this game turns around here.
There we go. The Michimo death there and secures Denji to get the 100-10 score there. We'll be able to see Phoenix taking game number 1 in the best of 3 series. Very close from both sides. Denji able to get 2 snitch catches there, and the Quaffle game was pretty locked down from both sides. Only 30 points scored from the side of Oakshaft Owls, but Phoenix didn't score a whole lot of Quaffles themselves either. The end score being 110, take out the 60 points that it took from the 2 snitches, and that was a 50-30 Quaffle game. Shocky and Bearman, I believe, are here. We'll go straight to Bearman. How are you feeling after that game?
Yeah, not too bad. You're absolutely right. If you take the snitch out of the equation here, we're looking at only 50 to 30. That's not an awful quaffle lineup. There's a lot of back and forth there. Both keepers kind of let some shots through. Some interesting shots coming through on chasers. I saw a lot of what's it called, break checking on a couple of shots. That's always kind of throws you off your feet. I think going into the next game, I'd like to see a little bit more focus on the Seeker game from Oakshaft, a little bit better pressure.
And Tux?
I think I said that in the round already, but like Phoenix, from looking in the beginning, like only the first couple, I don't know what, 20-30 seconds maybe, they looked a bit uncoordinated on their defense. They just swarmed in there all three and tried to one-time it out, and they missed some tackles there. They stepped up mid-game, and at the end it looked pretty good. But they just have to do that from the beginning, just to ensure that they have pressure the whole time on the Quaffle game and the Seeker game. And if they just play the way they played at the end, I think they have a very, very good chance of winning again.
Well said. And then, with how close it was on every single snitch, do you think there's anything that the Oakshaft Owls need to change to make sure that Michimo is able to secure those snitch catches?
That's pretty hard to say. I mean, we saw a free flight keeper, which is obviously there to support the pressure on the Seeker so that Michimo can catch. First of all, I'm not sure if that's the right play here, because you're nerfing your keeper in movement, so it's easier to score on you. So the pressure you have to apply with that on the Seeker have to be significantly higher in order to do that. But if you don't get the snitch, then it's just a super punishment for the team. On the Seeker pressure, yeah, it was kind of rough. I think Mishimo died a couple times in the beginning, so a bit more survival from that side, and maybe a bit more focus on the beater than if Mishimo have trouble with that.
And then I do think we are going to see some roster changes going out, as instead of seeing Sly Haddock on beater on Phoenix, we're going to be seeing Slovenius, who is also a very good beater as well. Obviously, you know Phoenix, the whole group quite well, Tux. How do you feel about this change up on Beater?
I like it a lot. Obviously, they're both they're both super beaters, but I always see Sylph as like part of the main squad, kind of, even though they don't have that technically. But yeah, for me, Sylph was like more in the main squad, and I saw that he put in the work. Saw him a lot recently too, but yeah. For me, I personally like that change. I know that they're rotating every while and then like between the games, so we might just see changes if it comes to third round.
Sounds good. Well, both teams are getting ready to queue and go into match number 2. We're going to go ahead and let them queue. So if you guys are in queue, if you're partied up with your team, if you're wanting to get a little bit of warm up, I know the Knockout Knights are having a match later tonight against the Tenebrious Thestrals. So if those teams are getting ready to warm up, just hold off real quick while these teams go ahead and queue, snipe each other. So that way we can make this a nice and smooth process for them. I always like to mention that because you guys, we have 50 people watching right now. The Quidditch community is coming in strong to watch these competitive matches. Excited to see how different teams perform. Excited to cheer on for different teams that they want to see. And I enjoy you guys being here. And I know I can use this audience to be able to make things go a little bit smoother. You guys coming here to watch obviously takes you guys out of the queue and makes things even smoother until we have custom games. If anyone from Unbroken is watching, I always like to mention as well that we do want custom games. We know that you know that we want custom games. So we've seen that season 1 got extended until season 2. We're hoping as an extra little present for the delay, season 2 should come out with customs, is what I think.
I do hope and believe so, but yeah, I can't expect much. Let's say that.
All right, we're going to go ahead and pump up the music real quick. We're going to run an ad so it doesn't happen mid-match as both these teams try and queue snipe. Thank you guys for showing up, and we'll see you into game number 2. right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be getting into game number 2. Going into this, we're going to be seeing from the perspective of the Phoenix and Oakshaft Owls. We'll be seeing Oakshaft Owls, I believe, whose perspective I clicked on. I believe this is Faster Eddie. We'll be highlighting a little bit of his gameplay here. There we go. And the scoreboard coming out for you guys with the correct scores. There we go. 0-0 going into match numero 2 with Phoenix taking game number 1. We'll get that edited in there as well. There you go. All right. They're playing on Weasley Burrow, a bounce shots player's nightmare where they can't see the lines. We'll see how that influences the rest of the game for the rest of the players. But we do have a change. We have Slovenius, like I mentioned beforehand, and he's going right off the bat straight into Michimo. We'll take a look over at his gameplay as Michimo already falls for the first time within the first 30 seconds. We're watching him hold right now the enemy's bludger, I believe, as he was trying to shuffle it back and forth. Gets a nice shot on Podology. If Slovenius is running a build that has the enemy bludger damage, that's an extra 4 damage going in there. I'm not entirely sure what type of build he's running, but he's definitely packing a punch with those tackles, taking down Podology as well. Slovenius is ready to build a graveyard in the Weasley Burrow. We're 1 minute.
Right now it's working completely. They are winning Snitch. I think he built Mishimo one already and applied much pressure to Chaser, so from what I saw here, it's pretty good.
As much pressure as he's doing on the Seeker, it's not enough for the Chasers as Oakshaft Owls put up the first score. Dark Rit Nighthawk coming out and putting the 10-0. What is with me and Nightmares from Knockout Nightmares to now saying Dark Rit Nightmares. Aye. Looking at right now, we're seeing Dake Blueby with the score 10-10. Words are hard. Look at the snitch meter right now. We also see a significant lead from one side. Rising Phoenix is doing really well going into this, and another score by Malacosis in the background makes this a 20-10 with a snitch only like 40% for Michimo. We'll take a look
I believe
over.
the keeper died there, like just when the ball spawned, which was kind of unlucky.
Yeah, we see right now Faster Eddie was able to take possession. Malakos is coming up behind, but right back at Faster Eddie, he's able to put it back in. Quaffle gameplay's been really close from 50-30 last game to now 20-20. Snitch meter is the only deciding factor here, where Michimo is so far behind in comparison. We're about to watch as Michimo tries to bump her way back into victory, but it's not enough for Denji to get the catch here coming up. He's at the 100% meter. He just needs to stay alive. He's currently trying to evade as best as he can. We don't have his POV, but I know what he's doing right now is trying to stay alive to the best of his ability and get that snitch catch. As Michimo and Faster Eddie are kind of competing right now from who can get the scores first. Malacosis with the score 30-20, 10-point difference right now. And it's definitely a testament right now to the defense on Oakshaft Owls, the fact that Denji still hasn't caught yet. Less than 4 minutes now, within the meters no longer 100%. The percentage went up from Michimo, meaning that Michimo was able to get a bump there. And if they're able to continue snowballing this, they can take down Denji. We watch as Slovenius takes him down there, but we're watching now from Malacosis' point of view as Quaffle game gets passed back and forth. We'll take a look quickly over at Slovenius on the beater perspective. He's influencing the Chaser gameplay, keeping it back in the hands of Dake Blueby. Seeker on Michimo is down to 4 HP. You see that there. Bottom left, Denji just refreshed to full. Michimo falls, and Denji with the catch, leading 60-20. 3 minutes left on the clock.
That was closer than it had to be. I felt like in the beginning he was full and Mishimo was like half, and they almost caught up there. That was kind of close in the end.
Yeah, for sure, testament to both the beater and the Seeker. Michimo being able to get some bumps on them, able to close that gap as soon as she got back alive, but falling back and forth. It's really impressive that they stalled out Denji for a minute as it is, but the catch ultimately did go in Denji's favor as he stayed alive the longest. We're still not out of the race yet from either side, though. 30 points is a single catch, and we are going into second snitch catch now. So as long as both teams can remain within 30 points, this can still be anyone's game. We're watching right now as Oakshaft Owls with Faster Eddie are putting the pressure on the Quaffle gameplay. Slovenia is trying to control the field as a beater, trying to keep the Chasers at bay, trying to take out Podology. making him low HP, and that's sometimes all that you need for a chaser to confirm the kill. But Dake Blueby with another score removes the snitch insurance gap that Oakshaft Owls could have banked on. Now they need to make sure that they get a quaffle goal to make it only a 30-point difference. So that way, as soon as Michimo can catch, that they bring it into an overtime. Going back
The
right
snitch
now,
is-
Faster Eddie.
The snitch is like the factor again here for sure, and the Oakshaft Owls have to score like only one and then secure the snitch, and that's super possible.
It's definitely proving harder than it is to say as far as scoring on Natty. Natty has a very good defensive keeping ability, and I know with ping as well as a factor, whether it's good or bad, Natty is doing a pretty good job being from South America, able to kind of combat whether on NA ping or not. We're watching right now Neo heading downfield, pass play over into the hands of Dake Blueby, but doesn't get the one-timer score. It goes back into the hands of Darkrit Nightmare. As I said, Nightmare Nighthawk once again. Dake Blueby with the quaffle. We see Malakosis set up as well, getting ready for one-timer setup or just simple pass play and distracting. We see the one-timer doesn't go out and Neo just shoves it straight through. 80 to 30, 50-point difference. Less than 50 seconds left on the clock. Snitch meter is getting really close. Small favor into Denji's hands right now, but it's still anyone with the bumps coming out from both sides. Michimo trying hard, Denji trying hard, but it's in friendly territory for Denji, so Michimo has to watch out for kicks. Faster Eddie getting ready to try and score as well. The score comes in from Faster Eddie. That makes it a 40-point difference. 30 seconds left on the clock. Michimo needs to be able to catch here, but it goes into the hands of Denji instead, and Denji secures the 110 to 40, taking game number 2, and the series as a whole is going to go in favor of Phoenix. GG's from both sides. Tux, how you feeling?
That snitch was so close at the end. That's well. I mean, Oakshaft Owls did a pretty good job on the snitch in general. Just the last bit, like just the secure of the snitch at the end, the couple tackles. I felt like that was missing at the end because they had to score, obviously, so they couldn't have all chases on the snitch there. But yeah, that was just a missing factor at the end. Like these some tackles are so important in the end.
And then Bearman, over to you.
Again, remove the snitches from that, and you're looking at a pretty decent quaffle game. Just need to see some more work with the snitch game from Oakshaft here, I think. Overall, this was a pretty good matchup, I think.
Yeah, the quaffle game was surprisingly close as well. We've seen a lot go out from both sides. We've seen the beaters coming into play on the chaser gameplay as well. We'll go ahead and pull up some stats now for you guys. I was able to get some things working. I'm still doing some trial and error as far as getting you guys some stats that are proper and true. I don't want to make anything look wrong, so we'll get those pulled up. While we do so, we do have Shocky in the booth. Shocky, did you watch the last match and want to add any input?
No, he did.
All right. Looks like a no from him. Tux, if you were in the hands of Oakshaft Owls right now, what do you need to improve going forward after seeing that matchup?
That's an interesting one. I feel like they did pretty good on like just the quaffle game. Last game was 50-40, I believe. The first game 50-30. So it was pretty close there. They are doing pretty good there already. Just a little extra pressure on the Seeker, and I think they could have won at least one game. The last game especially, snitches were super close. And I think the first snitch of the first game too. But other than that, just the some tackles at the end, just try to stun lock Denji, try to get like one tackle from the beater, the call out, and then try to lock him on the spot so that Mishimo can catch. And I think that game can turn around pretty quick.
And then Bearman, what sort of things do you see work well from Phoenix that they should improve on and make sure that they keep nice and true going into their next matches as well?
So I had Mitchie's stream up on a second monitor during that and was watching from their POV. And their pressure from their chasers is insane. You could just watch as they're trying to fly around chasing the snitch, and you just see an endless stream sometimes of just Phoenix tag, Phoenix tag, Phoenix tag, either landing tackles or flying like just behind Mitchie. And so I think if they can keep, honing in the pressure that they exhibit on on the Seeker game as a whole, in addition to their scoring game that they're maintaining, then that's definitely going to help them succeed moving forward.
Nicely said. I do have pulled up the beater and seeker stats for both sides. On the left, we're looking at Slovenius on beater, and as far as seeker, Denji. On the right hand side, we're going to be looking at Oso Luna. I wanted to make sure I said that right. On beater for the Oakshaft Owls, and seeker it was Michimo. So taking a look at both of these sides, you can go ahead and see the eliminations per side. A lot of the eliminations came out from Slovenius taking out chasers, taking out the seeker twice. And tackles, targeted tackles, are on top, untargeted on bottom. Slovenius with 18 out of 31 tackles landed, whereas on the other side we see 4 out of 22. That's a big difference in tackle disparity. Looking at the bludgers though, where Oakshaft Owls beater kind of lacked in tackles, they made up for in bludgers. They threw 28 bludgers. They boosted 24 of those, intercepted only one of them. It seems like more of the intercepts came from the side of Slovenius, kind of taking a lot of those thrown bludgers. So even though Slovenius had only summoned 14 times himself, he was able to throw 22 bludgers himself. And then looking at Seeker gameplay, the main thing that stands out for me is even though Oakshaft Owls found the snitch both times, Denji on the side of Phoenix was able to get that. That 5% does influence the Seeker game a decent amount. However, it's not the end-all be-all. And we see there being able to prove that he was able to catch both snitches, went through 10 more rings than him. And then also an interesting aspect is Denji doesn't bump. So he threw no bumps that game. And so his build is definitely more of a passive, probably like a 5-5-0 build where he's not running any sort of tackle, just trying to stay off of the snitch, stay alive, and make sure that he's not getting too close to the enemy seeker. We did see Michimo throw out 6 bump attempts and 4 of those landed. And so we were able to see that shift in the meter towards the end, especially when Michimo was behind, close up those gaps and bring the game closer even though Michimo was dying. Out of the stuns, we see 15 stuns headed to Michimo's way. One of those was a bludger out of the 4 bludgers sent. And over on Denji's, he was only stunned 9 times, and only one of those bludgers had hit out of 14. Now, obviously, I just went through all of those stats, but not to repeat them necessarily, Tux, but is there anything that stands out to you regarding this?
Two things. First of all, Denji's tackles are awesome. 18 out of 31 is pretty damn good. And the second thing is that I'm wondering why does Denji have more snitch rings than Mishimo if Mishimo is playing close to the snitch and Denji is playing far? Not like normally if you play 5-5-0, you're playing either above or below or like on the sides of the snitch so you don't get tackled or bumped. Somehow he managed to get 40 rings still, which is impressive, I have to say.
He must have definitely just kind of caught them as he could in his different moments. And then taking a look at Bearman, what do these stats speak to you?
Yeah, I kind of also noted too when you put this up the 0 bumped attempts, 0 successful bumps from Denji here. I was kind of surprised to see that. Happy to see the bump attempts from Oakshaft though. I think that definitely came in clutch one game where the comeback was really close. Like for a while the snitch meter was not very even. But there managed to be a sort of comeback put into play, and I saw at least 2 bumps in a row that definitely contributed to rebalancing out that meter. So even though the other seeker not trying to bump, trying to play passive, still getting in there and getting those, that really kind of called out. The accuracy on the tackles, though, like Tuck said, that's pretty impressive. I think probably contributed a lot to this.
Yeah, well said. And then from my beater perspective, if I was to give any sort of advice from Slovenius' side, he was definitely landing a lot more tackles on his side.
Are you muted in Discord?
Oh, there we go. I was muted in Discord for a moment. There we go. As I was mentioning, Slovenius, if I had to give any sort of improvements there, I'd kind of just mention a lot of those boosted. We see 16 boosted bludgers there. The enemy seeker only got stunned once by a bludger out of 4 of them. So obviously, while bludgers are harder to hit in the future, maybe you can just kind of feathering the boost, kind of deciding how you want to utilize that a little better for when you do throw those intercepted bludgers. And from the side of Oakshaft Owls for their beater, just a little bit more of those tackles discipline, kind of getting some extra practice with landing those tackles. We see 4 out of 22 of those hit. That's a lot that didn't land, and if those would have landed, could have changed the outcome of the Seeker race altogether. But we're gonna go ahead and end it right there for right now. I see that a lot of the Oakshaft Owls joined my call, but I'm not gonna be doing any post game interviews, unfortunately. I'm just gonna go ahead and get straight into. We're gonna be seeing a new match at 9 o'clock here shortly. I'm gonna get myself a quick dinner break in this time that we have 30 minutes. Is there any last words that you guys want to say, Bearman and Tux?
I just want to say that this was a pretty good game, and even though the statistic doesn't look close, it was a close game, especially if you look at the snitches, like how close that was, and if you just take the Quaffle game as it already 50-30 and 50-40, I think, then that was a pretty good game from both sides.